I'm Joe Frantz. You're listening to the Cinema Scumbags podcast.
Woo-doo-woo! Woo-doo-woo! I came to bring this to you!
Best sandwich ever, Bill Scalapini.
What the fuck are you talking about?
What was that noise you just made, Frantz?
This says 6 nuggets and I only got 4.
I know damn well it's here.
Scotor, I know you groove and shake it so damn good.
You just smashed the customer's fucking car.
We're gonna rock and roll.
What part about Expelled don't you understand, Ralph?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Cinema Scumbags movie podcast. I'm Seth.
I'm Nick D.
I'm Matt.
I'm Filmy's Nick.
This is episode number 32, and we are joined by a very special guest today. His name is Joe Frantz. He is a director, cinematographer, producer, and author. There's a good chance you've seen this guy's work before, whether it be from the CKY video series, Viva la Bam, the Jackass films, amongst many other things. He's done a lot of stuff, and we're stoked to have him on the show. Joe, how the hell you doing, man?
I'm stoked to be here. Hello, Cinema Scumbags. How you doing?
It's fucking awesome to hear.
Now,
Yeah, it's great to be here. I've been listening to you guys for a long time. I'm super impressed with your encyclopedia knowledge of all the films that I love, and a lot of ones that I don't. You guys are probably all young enough to be my sons, so we have a little diverse interests, which I love. I love a little variety.
Of course, man. Yeah, we figured you'd be a good person to have on, not just because of your resume, but also because you're a big film guy, which we'll get into here as we progress a little bit. But for the people who are listening, I know I've summed up a little bit already, but people who might not know who you are, why don't you kind of take us back to the early days a little bit? How'd you first get started?
Well, I got started when I got out of college and couldn't get a job. You know, it's interesting because filmmakers who started out using film, a lot of them look at the old technology very nostalgically. So they look at the old splicing tape and the old moviolas and the reel-to-reel, and they say, wow, wasn't that a thrilling time? I could not wait for that time to be over because it was so hard and so expensive to get a film done. Okay, so give you a little brief synopsis on the cost sheet. If you had a 16 or Super 16 400-foot magazine, you're looking at about somewhere between 10 and 11 minutes of usable footage that wasn't spoiled by sunlight or any kind of light on either end of the roll. And that costs a couple $100. It costs another $100 to get processed, and then it costs another $100 or so to get a work print, or a couple $100 to get it transferred to video, and that's for somewhere around 10, 11 minutes worth of footage.
that's usable footage, right? I mean,
Well, sometimes it wasn't. Luckily for me, I was always a very keen cinematographer. My exposures were always right on. I studied it a great deal before I ever started shooting, so I never had too many experiences where you get the footage back and you have an uh-oh moment. So as it turned out, I was a very strong producer because I have a lot of organizational skills, and I made it a point to know the ins and outs of every single job on the set. And I was producing, so I started working in advertising. I got my reel together. I worked at NFL Films.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
And I started working in their lab department. Now, I was at the age of 26. Up until that time, my only job in film I had ever had was working at a photo mat. Now, I don't know if you remember the photo mats, but you would go in and, like, in an hour, they would print your photos.
yeah.
Okay,
on a
yeah,
roll
I
of
know
film.
that.
Yeah, I worked there, and I made less than $6 an hour for 2 years, trying to learn everything I could about negatives.
God.
And I bought a Bolex 16-millimeter camera, made just little student films with in-camera effects. That's where you do things like stop-motion animation. You rewind the film in the camera for double exposure, that kind of stuff. I made these crazy little experimental films, and I caught a really good break. I got a job in advertising, started traveling the world making commercials, primetime television commercials. Like right after the song on The Simpsons was my commercials. So
Oh, shit.
it was,
That's
yeah, it
awesome,
was a
dude.
good break.
That's sick. I read that you're credited in the film Crumb. I seen on IMDb that you're credited in that. What's that all about?
It stems from me being a marginal dork. I love comic books, and I grew up on comic books. And Robert Crumb, native Philadelphian, was coming to town to do a lecture, and lo and behold, they were shooting a movie about Crumb, and you could actually see me in the audience for a brief second with my buddy Andrew Wright and Adam Wallacavage. And little funny story to that: right before the lecture, we saw him taking a walk on the street. So we're like, oh my God, there's Robert Crumb. There he is. So we start walking a little faster to catch up to him. He sees us out of the corner of his eye and starts walking faster. And before we realized he was running from us, we started trying to chase him down. So it kind of looked like this rapidly progressing parade of, picture Robert Crumb followed by a bunch of punk rock dorks trying to catch up with him, chase him into the building.
Flannels.
Realized he was running from us. Pretty funny.
I've never seen that doc, man. I've always wanted to. There's
Yeah,
a reason to watch it right there.
Yeah, we're big Criterion heads, so.
Yeah, it's a beautifully made film. If you haven't seen it, it's one of my favorites, man. It's just a beautiful documentary.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to pick that up.
You have any other favorite Criterions out there?
I think the Sam Fuller collection is on Criterion. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, we're all big Criterion heads, and they just had that Criterion sale. I don't know if you're into that, or do you even collect Blu-ray, or is it all DVD, or doesn't matter to you?
Well, here's what I have. Here's my setup. Here's why I don't go to the movies very much. I have the largest in-home theater on the entire East Coast, possibly till you get into LA. I have a pretty big house. The bottom floor used to be a store, and so I have a 16-foot by 9-foot movie theater in my house. That's how big the screen is. So I have over 3,000 movies. I have DVDs and Blu-ray, and some VHS. I can't. Some of my VHS you can't get on any other format. So I kind of hang on to that and watch it every now and then. And I also have a collection of old horror Super 8s that I collected when I was a kid.
Oh, that's sick.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm suddenly ashamed of my 500 Blu-rays.
Yeah, right.
I know, right?
I thought I had a hard time getting to 600.
I know. How's your storage space on that shit?
Storage space is fine, man. I get a big office.
That's sick.
So you have like ceiling to floor?
Yeah. I was gonna build shelves. I'm pretty handy, but then I realized I was going to Home Depot to get some lumber, and I was driving underneath the highway, and I saw, and I don't know how they got there, but I saw about 200 milk crates, and I said, boy, these would fit in that space perfectly. They're free, and I don't have to build anything. So I hammered and screwed them into the wall, zip tied all the edges together, and those are my shelves. So on one side of my office is books and comic books, and on the other side is all DVD and Blu-ray.
That's sick.
Damn, that's awesome.
That's fucking great.
Are you a big record collector? Vinyls and stuff?
Have a lot of vinyl, have all my old punk rock from when I was a kid. I have everything from Japanese Bach to 70s, 80s pop. I got my Culture Club, got my Misfits, got my Murphy's Law, got all the stuff that I grew up with. I don't collect things. The only new vinyl I have is CKY.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that recently put out, or was that put out back then?
What, CKY?
Yeah, on vinyl.
They do like a reprint every now and then I go over Jess Margera's house, and every time I go over there, he loads me up with some Viking Skull and CKY. I love that kid.
That's sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You collect like movie soundtracks, movie scores, or anything like that?
Sure, absolutely. Nightmare Before Christmas, love it. Camelot, love that. Popeye, Annie, all the classics. I have a lot on vinyl as well. The old Henry Mancini, that kind of stuff.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So, how'd you first get started with the CKY crew, though, and all that?
But when I was working in advertising, my boss did these horrible exploitive movies called The Bikini Bandits.
Oh my god.
Actually, Corey Feldman was in one of them.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
Terry and
Yeah.
Laura's next crew.
We tried to
Yeah,
get
it
him on the
was-
show, by the way. It didn't work.
Who? Feldman?
Yeah, Feldman.
Oh, I love that guy. Got him.
Gotta use your connects, Joe.
One more. Okay. Actually, here's a funny story. At the time he was in town, I had long hair and a leather jacket, and I was considerably thinner. And at the time, I was like 160 something, and I walked into a bar and someone yelled, "Corey Feldman!"
Shit.
And I didn't say I was him, but I didn't deny it.
played
And
it
I drank
off.
for free. I drank for free all night on Corey's good name, and he didn't drink at the time, so I felt guilty about that because I somehow gave him a bad name. I owe him a big apology.
I think Dan Feldman's a boozer, man.
Yeah. So anyway, I was on one of the Bikini Bandits films, and these two kids came up to me, who were extras in the movie. One's name was Ryan Dunn, the other's name was Bam Margera, and Bam said to me, he said, "Well, you may not have heard of me, but I made this movie called Land Speed, CKY." I said, "Yeah, I've seen it," because I helped set up an art gallery here in Philadelphia at the time, and that's where you saw movies like that back then. Obviously, it was the 1990s. It was the pre-internet days, and that was the only way you could see stuff like that. And I said, "Sure, I've seen CKY. Thanks for putting it out. It was a great film." He said, "My brother's in a band called CKY, and I know that if we made a music video and shot it in film, I just know it could be a big hit." Now, back then, everybody would say that. So I said what you would say if you were an ad exec. I said, "Well, do you have a script and storyboard?" And he said, "I know what that stuff is, but I don't. I have that all in my head." I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" Because I was excited that he was going to pay for the film, and even though I would shoot it for free,
You would get to work on it, yeah.
Yeah, and I would practice my art.
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, Ryan here is going to get a car, and he's going to go buy. One of us is going to give the other the finger, and then I'm going to get a bike to come after him, and I'm going to steal it from my brother, so I'm going to kick him off the bike." And I said, "Well, wait a minute. How are we going to do the stunt?" And he said, "Well, how do you mean, how do you do this stunt?" "I'm going to run down the street and kick my brother off the bike." And I said, "But how do we break up the shot so he doesn't get hurt?" And he says, "Fuck him if he gets hurt." That's his fault. So I said, "Okay." Then he said, "And then Ryan's going to crash the car into a bridge." And I said, I said, "Ryan, you're going to crash the car into the bridge. Well, how are we going to do that?" And they said, "Well, you can buy a car for $100. Then you can do whatever you want to it." So I said, "What about permits? What about permission?" They said, "Permits? How does that work?" I said, "Let me get this straight. You're going to get a car for $100. You're going to crash it into the bridge." And they said, "Yeah, how else are we going to do it?" I said, "I'm there. I'm fucking there. This is independent film at its finest. This is why I'm an independent filmmaker. This is it."
Yeah.
And lo and behold, we made that music video. It was 96 Quite Bitter Beings, and it got on MTV. And MTV was impressed. They said, "Who shot the film? Who did the colors? This is great." It got on full rotation on a show called Total Request Live.
Oh,
and then we just went right into it, man. We did the CKY videos. We did I think it was 13 music videos for the band CKY. We did videos for him, Clutch, music documentaries that are now considered classic for the band Him. We did the movie Haggard. It was a great, very thrilling point in my career.
I did want to ask you, is Haggard out of print on DVD?
Haggard's out of print.
Yeah, I seen. It's like $40 on Amazon.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we couldn't keep up with the piracy, no matter what we did. There was a time, as far as distribution goes, a lot of people said, "Well, how many Haggards did you sell?" I can track it. We sold about 1 million. But we didn't get the profits for that. It was a very strange time. So the only way you could get those type of movies were at mom and pop skate shops. And that's how they drew a lot of people in, because everyone would wait for the new video. Because back then, pre-YouTube days, the only way you could see a skater land a trick or learn how to do it is to wait for the new video to come out, or to find a professional skater. And then you could only see him do the goddamn trick once. You couldn't slow motion or anything like that. So you would wait for the new 411, you'd wait for the new Big Brother, you'd wait for the new CKY, and but so that was our distribution model, which has gone away. Action sports is pretty much a dead genre. But at the time they were flying out the door, but at the same time our distributors were turning on the presses at night and selling box loads behind our back. So I really don't know how many of those movies we sold, and they stole a lot of our money. And now, thanks to the internet, the movies are just unsellable. I mean, you can't sell them for a decent price. You can't. There's no profit in it anymore, and you can't make any more movies if you're not selling anything and turning a profit. So so we got the CKY4 and we said let's abandon ship on the CKY movies.
Because I was reading somewhere that you were trying to release CKY and Haggard on Blue, so that's not a thing anymore, I guess.
I mean, I could do it, but there's no profit in it. I've been doing it for free, and quite frankly, if I'm going to do something for free, I'd rather write the new Dream Seller book that's going to turn a profit later, or I do a lot of reality shows now to kind of make a check to fund my art.
Right.
So that's I mean, there's good money in that, so I'll just hire myself rather than sit at home like I used to and work for free, hoping I can make money later. I make money now, and then I use that money to fund my other art.
For sure.
Awesome. I would like to revisit the CKY series one day. I really would. Like, a lot of people ask me what I'm doing with a lot of the old footage, and there's tons of it. I mean, I have.
I had to imagine there's a shit ton of stuff you're sitting on, over the years.
I have 1,000 hours here at my house, all digitized, and I think what I'm going to do with that is eventually have CKY reunions where it's rather than release them and rather than sell them. I believe that the thing to do is show these movies for free. Get like some kind of bar or some kind of convention or something that will allow people to come in, pay a price at the door, and sit with the fans and who is ever around with the CKY crew and just share the movies in person as an experience to reunite the fans and the crew. And no one's doing that. And I just think it will be such a special way to share this footage personally, because CKY has always been, it's always been something that's very close to people's hearts. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people grown up with these films, and they've influenced a lot, an entire generation of counter and pop culture. So it would be, for me, it would be coming full circle, be able to sit in a room and to be able to take select audiences and just show them the movies for free. Just the unseen footage they've never had a chance to witness, and you can't buy anywhere.
Right.
It's a great idea.
That'd be sick. I know for a while you were uploading stuff on your YouTube channel for quite a while. I guess.
Yeah, I was putting some stuff on there, but it's interesting because if the CKY videos came out now, they would fall by the wayside. They would get lost in the shuffle, and I realized that that's really what was going on. And quite frankly, it says in the Bible something about casting pearls to the swine. There was so many kids out there who were just so unappreciative, or they would say the quality sucks. And it's weird. It's like you read the comments on YouTube, and it's like dealing with the white trash of the world.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, it is. It is.
That is
terrible.
That's a whole nother show.
It's about the lowest point of the internet. When you start sifting through some of those comments. I mean, we all have experience with that. We all make videos on there.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with like living there's a stereotype of the kid who lives in their mom's basement and in their mom's attic and just leaves crappy, mean-spirited comments because they're angry at the world. And I get that because I used to live in my mom's attic too up until I was like 24. And so but some of these kids are just so angry and so mean, and I'd rather share the CKY experience with a live audience, with people who really want to be there, and
that'd be sick, honestly.
People that appreciate it.
Yeah.
It would be beautiful.
That also brings up, I was also reading that you were trying to release a CKY documentary.
Yeah, I was later 2017. Or something.
I was toying around with the idea of doing that. Again, the movies are largely unmarketed. See, the way distribution works is you have a distribution company with a distribution model. A lot of these producers and executive producers, they call themselves now VPs and stuff like that of distribution companies. They really don't know what the hell they're doing. They just take a lot of it's like a stockbroker.
Yeah.
None of these guys really know what they're doing, but they know if they move a lot of volume, they get a percentage on each point of sale. So there's no distribution model for action sports. So I made a documentary for MTV called CKY The Greatest Hits. It was a 1-hour retrospective special where the fans got to see a lot of the classic and some of the unreleased footage with all new wraparound interviews. And it was a big thrill to get together with the CKY crew and work with them again on that. And
I thought it was great. I watched it,
Thank you.
a couple times. No, I fucking loved it, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's like seeing all those guys, talk about the old days is just, that's what the fans want now,
It's nostalgic.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. And the first time someone said that to me was during the premiere of Jackass 3D. And someone's like, "Isn't this great? It's like nostalgia." And I said, "God damn, I'm old." Nostalgia, the stuff, where I cut my teeth. And that was, I don't know. That was, I don't want to say it was a blow to my ego, because it was. But it made me think about it in a different way. And a lot of the fans would tell me these stories. Like this one kid said, me and my friends would put Haggard the movie in our rooms on repeat for our entire summer. And they would sleep with that movie going. They would wake up with that movie going. They would, they wanted to live that movie. And I don't know. I just, it's one of the best things that could ever happen in my career was just this entire generation of people falling in love with those films.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's like
that's all of us, we get shit. I revisit them. I pop them in once a year, man. It's like I go through that phase every year where I revisit all the content.
Oh, thank you.
We just went on a trip to Chicago a few months back, and that's when I went on a rampage, snagging all the Viva la Bam, all the Jackass, all the CKY shit. I wish I could get Haggard though for a decent deal. Fuck, it's hard to find.
Yeah. We have a lot of unreleased scenes to that. That's something else I would really like to get to.
I just want to revisit it, honestly, because I haven't watched it since back probably when it came out.
Yeah, I remember. Oh God, one time I didn't see that movie when Ryan Dunn died. I hadn't seen that movie for it was 2 or 3 years since I saw it, and I was going through some old tapes looking for the lost scenes, and I remember I hadn't made my peace with Ryan's death yet, and it was maybe 8 months after he died, and I put a tape in, and I was so sad because his scenes were lost, I thought, and I was going through old tapes and old reels of film trying to find these scenes, and I found one of them, and I put it in, and I just remember seeing his face, and man, I had some guests over at the time, and I had cried with an intensity I had never felt before. The kind when you're not audible, when the words are coming out and they're just sobs. Mm-hmm. And that lasted for like 3 hours, and I couldn't. And it was the first time I cried. I was able to cry since his death, and I had all these people over. I would say it was embarrassing, but everyone really understood.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for me, like as far as anyone that was, TV, movies, that was the hardest death that I ever, read about. I was just like, oh my fucking gosh.
Yeah, it really was. It changed a lot of things, and it also changed the way people looked at that entire genre. Up until that time, up until Dunn's death, when I would work on a reality show, when you work on a film set, you get some snobs, and it's just the way it is in any industry. And but people would love to make it a point to come up to me and say, this is a real reality show. This isn't Jackass, okay? This isn't the CKY videos. So, if you think for a moment that you're going to pull any of your Jackass shit.
Oh, fuck.
But after Ryan died, that really changed. And all those snobs would then make it a point to come up to me and say, hey, those films really had an effect on the way I looked at film and the way I treated a camera and my artistic sensibilities. So thank you.
It's almost its own special kind of genre.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's like in the '90s, it was like the epitome of like guerrilla filmmaking. You know?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, you guys, created that. I mean, it's insane to even fathom.
Yeah, and I mean, we were getting arrested while we were shooting, and we were running from cops, dodging cops for entire days at a time. I remember one time, we for CKY3 we did a shopping cart slam sequence, and we nailed it in one day. We went from one location to another, and there became a growing brigade of local cops, and then they were joined by state troopers. But one thing cops love to do, and I love the police. I'm a big fan of police because they all love the CKY videos, and they love my book and everything. So I have a lot of really good friends who are cops. But one thing about cop psychology is they love to stick together. So they would all come in the front of one of the parking lots of a grocery store where we'd be doing our shopping cart slam. And as they were all coming in the front, we would jump in the car with our humongous Arriflex 35 millimeter camera. We would go out the back, and then they would go park. Everyone would jump out of the car trying to figure out what was going on, talk to everybody who's calling the cops on their cell phone. And by that time, we would be setting up our shopping cart slam at the next place. And
awesome.
that was a thrilling time.
Wasn't there? I heard a story with Rab and like a jock strap and a bloody asshole.
Mm-hmm. well, we thought it would be funny if he would do a shopping cart slam wearing a jock strap, and someone had some fake blood, and we said, wouldn't it be funny if we had you hitchhike in your jock strap? And then someone pulled out the fake blood, and they said, wouldn't it be funny if you had fake blood all over your asshole? But we didn't know it, but there was a flasher out at the same time. And yeah, and it was before the internet and all that stuff. So, it was this little article in the paper. There's, the Westchester flasher or whatever they would call it. So people thought it was him. And so did the cops. And he went to jail with bloody asshole in a jock strap. And the cop actually wrapped his own coat around him and kind of thought it was funny.
Was that the whole rollerblading bit?
No, rollerblading happened at a different time. Oh, an addendum to that story, though. So I had the film of that in my little movie camera. I had a little Bolex 16 millimeter camera, and the cops boxed me in. And they came to me and they said, "Where's your video camera?" I said, "Well, this isn't a video camera, it's film." And he said, "You wise ass, I know what it is. Give me that." So I open up the camera. Now on the camera, there's two spools. There's your exposed side of film with your footage that you have, and then there's the raw side with the unexposed film. So I said, "Are you sure you know what you're doing with this?" He said, "Yeah." So I gave him the unexposed roll of film, kept the exposed side. When you hand someone a roll of film, it flies off the reel.
Oh.
So I gave him the unexposed blank film. He holds it in his hands. It flies everywhere. I said, "Oh my God, my film, that cost $1,000. I mean, it was really $100 roll of film.
Right.
But I said, "That's $1,000. Oh my God." He says, "I'm not responsible for this. Get out of here." So that's how we escaped with the footage.
Oh my God.
That's fucking great, dude. I said, I grew up on that stuff. I was like 13, I guess, in 2003. I guess that's when Viva la Bam started, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I revisit constantly. Hands down, the best thing ever put on MTV.
It's fucking great, man.
It
really
is.
Yeah, the director, Troy Miller, was really a visionary in that he wanted to, first of all, he was a control freak in a good way. So he wanted to make sure no one fucked with what he was doing, and no one really understood what he was doing. And he wanted to make a reality show with no narrations. He said, "That's cheap. I don't want talking heads describing what we're doing. You show in filmmaking, you don't tell. There's no reason to describe to everyone what's going on if we do this correctly." And he was very receptive to the ideas and spontaneity that Bam and Ryan and everyone else had, and he just did a brilliant job with groundbreaking television. He actually directed one of the topics we wanted to get into later on were sequels. He made a sequel to a movie. You guys don't know what it is, so I'm going to tell you. He made Dumb and Dumber.
He's
Oh,
the
no.
director of Dumb and Dumber.
That's Seth's favorite movie.
Dumb and Dumber. Wait, what was Dumb and Dumber?
Dumb and
Dumb and
Dumber.
Dumber, I believe.
Yeah.
When Harry met Lloyd.
Yeah.
Classic comedy.
Had come out with that. Now, at the time, you got to understand, I'm a Generation X guy, and there were a couple movies that were landmark Generation X movies. One was like the Brady Bunch movie. The other one was Dumb and Dumber. And, the other one was Tommy Boy. So there was like a couple. Yeah. But I remember I said, wow, I've been waiting for almost 10 years for the sequel to Dumb and Dumber come out. How is it? He said, it sucks.
It really is a piece of shit.
It's bad.
The studio took all the control away from him. I felt unfortunate about that. But
that's definitely one you can tell that the studio put out.
Yeah,
not a director.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually gonna say, did you have any favorite episodes from Viva la Bam?
No, this surprises a lot of people. I've never really watched an entire episode of Viva la Bam. I would do my part. I was director of photography, and I had a very special role in that show in that I was shooting film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ever since An American Family, I believe, which was the first follow doc series on PBS back in the 70s. I was, one of the only people shooting film on a reality show, and I would do all the montage and all the kind of the hero shots and that slow motion, that marquee look that I helped create with that show. And after that, I would live the episodes and have fun with my friends. And I was not compelled to watch the episodes because I had lived it. I wasn't editing. I wasn't in charge of the post-production or anything like that. And I would watch the shows and I'd be like, I've been there, done that. I
couldn't imagine editing that show. I just ran through the deleted scenes on the DVDs and stuff. And I mean, fuck. Like the scavenger hunt episode. I mean, it's a whole nother episode.
That's great.
And just deleted scenes.
Yeah. Oh, it was the amounts of scene work that had to go on the cutting room floor for necessity of that show was astronomical. A lot of people ask how many episodes we made of that, and one answer is 44. The other answer is we made one episode, but we did it 44 times.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
In other words, you have to, when your advertisers are paying to advertise on a show towards a certain demographic, they need to have the shows, the shows need to be very similar. It needs to be a formula. So a lot of the spontaneity was very important to that, because we could improvise stuff, but a lot of the really great scenes had to get lost on the cutting room floor because they simply didn't fit into that structure.
Yeah.
Well, back to Dream Seller. You were the co-author on that book, is that right?
Yeah, and the co-author is the one that writes the book. Ironically,
I just can't picture Novak, writing that.
Well, neither can Novak.
But no, I read somewhere that I know you guys planned to do a movie way back in the day. I guess maybe Bam was supposed to play Novak. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
And then now supposedly it might be happening again, but with a different actor.
What did you hear?
Yeah, who's the fucking actor?
Sadly, the pop sensation Justin Bieber.
Not really.
Playing Brandon Novak.
How?
All right, well, okay. Well, okay. So when you go into contract negotiations for a script, basically a studio has it for a number of years. It's called you option off a script, and our option hiatus or whatever, our period where the script was optioned had ended. So I went in, I made some calls, and we started pitching Dream Seller, the movie again. It's not a time-sensitive movie. A lot of the scenes take place in the 90s and the 80s. So, and I would have liked the film to take place with all time period skateboards, clothes, etc. So it was never a thing where I was rushing to the finish line to get it done. And I remember the first time we started talking about the movie and getting the scripts back, we just weren't happy with any of it because basically they were trying to remake the Basketball Diaries, but with skateboards. I mean, it was and I wrote the first pass of the screenplay, and by the time all these Hollywood hotshots got done with the screen, with each subsequent version of the screenplay, the only parts we were happy with were my original parts. And I said, look, guys, this isn't a big picture. This is like a drugstore cowboy, like that Gus Van Sant movie with
Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon, yeah. So a couple years go by, and we go into negotiations again, and Hollywood's changed a lot. Nowadays in Hollywood, no one will tell you no. They'd rather keep you on the hook forever. It's so these executive producers, these VPs, they love to sit and say, we're in business with so-and-so. We have a movie with so-and-so. Now, they don't actually care about ever making the movie. They just want to go to meetings and say that we have a meeting with so-and-so. So I got together with a very big studio. I'm not going to say who they are. And their idea was to have Justin Bieber play Novak. Now, I love the Bieb. I do. I've got Bieber fever just like the rest of them. I think he's awesome. But in the back of my head, I'm saying, you fucking asshole. We're never going to get Justin Bieber to do this. We're never going to get enough money. You just want to go into meetings saying that you have a movie with Justin Bieber. So I just kind of stopped talking to him because they were so unrealistic. So, yeah, that's the story where Justin Bieber, in an alternate universe, there's a movie called Dream Seller where Justin Bieber plays Novak. So picture that in your head. Yeah. And however you picture that movie, that's exactly what that movie will look like and be like.
So I'm sure it's got to be better than Dumb and Dumber.
a lot of Bieber's ass crack in that one, I would assume. Yeah. I've never seen a clip with Novak where his ass isn't hanging out. I don't think.
That's true. That's true.
Honestly,
unfortunately, it's like that in real life, apparently. So,
I was curious though, like, what were things like behind the camera? Was there anything that wasn't caught on film that you wish was?
That is a good question. No one's ever asked me that.
It's kind of surprising.
Yes, there was we all during Viva la Bam, we all went to Amsterdam. And we filmed a couple things, but really we kind of treated it like a vacation on the company dole. I mean, it was Amsterdam. There was beer there. You know, we were kids, so there was that whole crazy scene in Amsterdam. And so there was a point when people kind of look down on you when you're walking around with a video camera there, because nobody there who's cheating on, no middle-aged businessman who's there cheating on their wives wants to be caught on tape.
Sure.
Yeah. It became very uncomfortable to have a video camera. So we just decided to call it quits, have a couple beers, and just chill out in Amsterdam. And then we're looking at there's a canal that runs through the main part of the city, and some homeless dude just walks up, squats over the canal, pulls down his pants and starts plopping all this poop. Then all these swans came and they started fighting over who was going to eat the poop. And so you had this dude who's pooping. I have no idea what this guy ate to have so much poop come out of his butt at once. But the swans were underneath the poop fighting for who was going to catch it in their mouth.
Oh my fucking
God. Ate a taco bake.
Fucking hilarious.
Oh my god.
I've heard some, I think I actually told you this, but I've been listening to Radio Bam pretty heavy. I know all the episodes are like available on YouTube maybe. But yeah, is there any chance that might come back? I heard
there is
actually say something about that.
Yeah, there is. Bam was talking to Sirius again. Yeah, what happened to Sirius? It was they had all their startup money and they spent it pretty freely. I mean, it was great. We would go up to New York and record the original shows, and it was a lot of fun. Then they got Stern in. They spent all that money, and it all went away. And we started doing the show in Bam's house, and that was great. Of all the things I get compliments on, my co-hosting and Radio Bam is in the top 3. People love me on that show. I loved doing it. I love the radio, and they just decided to draw it to a close, and so now they're entertaining the idea of having Bam back on the radio doing it again. So we will see. We will see what happens to the future Radio Bam. I would love to do that again.
That'd be awesome.
They just paid Howard. They just paid Howard fat. Hope they got hope they got some left over, man. All goes in his fucking pocket.
Yeah.
One thing that I've heard a couple different times on that radio show, the Jersey cigarette whore.
Oh, well, that was my girlfriend. Thank you. And and we called her affectionately the smoker from Jersey. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I had a lot
Christ.
of.
Get it right.
I'm not a big party guy. I'm not a big crazy. Yeah, I don't lead a decadent lifestyle as people somehow think I do. But for some reason, I attract very strange women, and yeah, there was a lot of stories about me and my girlfriends at the time that a lot of people remember.
Yeah, I probably ran through like the first maybe 40 episodes, and I know that got dropped quite a few times.
Yeah.
No, dude, that shit is fucking golden.
Yeah, it's an easy listen, man. It's fun shit.
I mean, how long have you actually been in the business, though?
I officially turned professional when I was 26. And as I said earlier in the show, man, you know, when I got out of college, I couldn't get a job. It's not like now where there was no internet. There was no job searches. Yeah. You know, you would wait for the newspaper to come. I'm a Philly guy, so there was nothing here but like shooting weddings. And I couldn't get a job shooting weddings. Like I really couldn't. Yeah. And so to get the big production jobs, you wait for a newspaper to come from New York. And that would take a day or two for it to get to the library. And then you would look at the job listings, and then you would write them a letter or you would fax them the resume, but the fax, you would never know if it got through or if anyone worthy or in a position to hire you would even look at it. So you would write a letter, and then you would wait for weeks for a response to the letter. It would never come. It was what was the question?
How many years? Yeah, how long have you actually been doing this?
Yeah, so you know, I was about 26 when I turned professional.
What's I mean, as far as everything you've done, like, what's been the highlight? What's been your favorite thing?
It would have to be the three things that people remember the most are Haggard the movie and the CKY video series. The book Dream Seller and my work on Radio Bam. That's what I get the most compliments on.
Mm-hmm.
And also we made a movie for Warner Brothers. I wrote and executive produced and starred in. It was with Bam Margera and Novak and the rest of the guys. It was called Where the Fuck is Santa?
With the great Mark the Baggers in there.
Yeah.
That's I'm telling you, bro. That's a Christmas classic. I got that on Blue. I've been every year I pop that in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I hated making that movie. I really hated making that movie.
Dude, that scene where they fucking snip your hair and he's like, "Are you wearing my fucking hair?"
Yeah. And I fell in the fire trying to.
I know. I was like, you're trying to beat his ass and you're fucking hitting the pit.
It was very stressful, but also it was stressful for other reasons. You know, a lot of the money for that movie changed hands so quickly, and it just became a power grab with some. And I'm not going to mention names because I don't believe in doing that. But you know, a lot of the people who were in the production side of it tried so hard to come in and get any meaningful control. And they would do like little power moves where they would try and pit us against one another as friends, or to like get us drunk or some of the guys drunk so that they could control them easier. And they would start unnecessary fights and just argue about things that don't matter. And when you're trying to do something where on camera you have to look like you're having a lot of fun, I can say a lot of the laughter provided in front of the cameras was very fake and very staged. It was a hard movie to make in that way, because I saw a lot of the spontaneity and the fun we used to have kind of fall away when we made that film. It's very stressful, and so I don't watch that film. It brings back a lot of really bad memories.
Damn.
Oh, feel better about that now, Nick?
Oh, no, I don't feel better, but I'll try not to think about that when I pop it in. You know what I say? Okay, now I'm getting way off topic here, but I just read that the ex-fiance of Charlie Sheen is suing for the whole HIV positive situation.
Oh my God, poor Charlie Sheen.
Oh man, he used to be such a classic, man. Men at Work. Anyone?
Men at Work.
Ferris Bueller.
Oh, he's classic in that.
Yeah, I never knew he was in Ferris Bueller till recently. I never really put that together.
Oh, it's like that's a good movie cameo right there.
And he's not doing much acting.
He's in the most gay-friendly movie I have ever seen called Platoon. Oh, you ever seen Platoon?
Yeah,
of course.
I've seen Platoon.
Yep.
Yeah. I turned gay when I saw that. I realized I was gay. I was like, wow, these dudes are all hot. They're all wearing those shirts.
I seriously think that movie gets worse each time you watch it.
Oh God, it was. I just didn't. But it was such an unfortunate thing with Charlie Sheen because for so many years in Hollywood, he got his reputation for being this bad boy. I mean, he has this one great story where he had this like New Year's Eve party that lasted for days, and like an entire like baseball team came there that he flew in, and there was just piles of cocaine and all this debauchery, and you weren't allowed to bring a camera in. You just had to, whatever you could remember, that's what you would walk away with. And 20 years later, people still talk about that party to this day. And I remember when he made his, when he got fired from, what is it, 2.5 Men or whatever that show is.
Yeah.
And that whole unfortunate episode, and he coined the phrase winning. And I was really behind him, man. I really, and it's just so unfortunate the way that lifestyle caught up with him. I just feel so bad for him.
I guess it really wasn't tiger blood, though.
I don't, yeah, right. Well, maybe the tiger was HIV positive, unfortunately.
Dude, I love Wall Street, man.
Wall Street. Red Dawn. Now, have you guys seen? You guys are film aficionados. The Wraith.
No,
Wraith.
No.
What year's that?
Wraith. Wraith. It was a science fiction movie where there's like these aliens with like a fast car who are like the bad kids, and it's a really cool movie. If you haven't seen The Wraith, that's my favorite Charlie Sheen movie. God bless you, Charlie.
Sounds very obscure.
I'm checking out.
Love the Sheen. Love his dad more.
Fucking awesome. Shit.
Well, since we're talking about him, what inspired your love for film? Like, was there a specific film in particular?
Yeah, what was that one movie, man, that kind of kickstarted for you?
There's two films. The first is my more beloved of the two films is the 1933 King Kong.
Oh shit!
All right.
Fay Ray and it's. I mean,
tell me you own that on Blu-ray Digibook though.
I don't own it on Blu-ray. I have the DVD, which has, and I got it. I remember when I got it, I was so impressed because the supplemental material by Jackson, who did the remake, which I didn't like, he recreated some of the lost scenes with all the original stop motion techniques that they used back in the day. And that movie was so imaginative because it was, and so unique. Because number one, it was the first movie where you have a big monster as kind of the plot device, and it's also your big first special effect movie, and the first movie where your star doesn't exist. It comes through the act of creation, and they pioneered almost all those effects for that film. And also, it was the first big movie where they had thematic music. So, for example, when you watch a Star Wars movie, they have the Darth Vader theme, the Luke Skywalker theme. It was the first movie where, okay, here's the heroine, let's have her theme. Here's Kong. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
So it broke ground in a lot of ways. My second favorite films are The Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein,
that's great.
Yeah, which had Bela Lugosi. It didn't have Boris Karloff as Frankenstein, but it had Glenn Strange, which was good enough. And, of course, Abbott and Costello, which were my comedic favorites back in the day.
I love that shit, man.
Choices.
Yep.
Are you a big fan of Chaplin?
Like Chaplin, yeah.
We're huge Chaplin aficionados here on the Scumbags podcast.
Chappy heads.
I think that was...
Well, you know who I love who's equally as good, who I actually like more, is Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton.
Yeah, I need to check out more of his stuff because he seems awesome.
Yeah,
Well, he did of course, his silent stuff, and his partner Fatty Arbuckle was the first big movie scandal. You guys probably don't know who I'm talking about.
No, I've heard of them, but I'm not
yeah.
familiar.
Yeah, well, it was during the kind of the bootlegging days during the 20s. Now, he had a contract that was so big. He was making over $1 million a year, and that was before income tax and all that stuff. And so that was during the 1920s. It was huge. These guys were making tens of thousands of dollars a movie. And he had a car called a Pierce Arrow that was so big, it had running water and a toilet in the car.
What the fuck?
We're talking 1920s technology. And
That's
so he
insane.
got caught up. Yeah. And there was a woman at one of these big parties. So as soon as he had this big contract, he rented out like a whole floor in this big grand hotel, had a bunch of bootleg whiskey and all this booze come in. Now, there was a woman there who had many abortions. Abortions were illegal at the time. You had to go into some little room or a basement, and someone would go up in you with a coat hanger. It was very unfortunate, and they did internal damage to her, and she died at the party. And by the time it hit the yellow press, the William Randolph Hearst press, he just trashed him, and there was a rape scandal and everything. And at the end, it turned out he was completely innocent. The jury and the judge apologized to him. They felt very bad for destroying his career, but he never bounced back. So his partner was Buster Keaton. And if you like Buster Keaton, you got to see he made some movies in the 40s where it was sound. So he got to use his voice and to be very dramatic in that sense. Great films. I think he did 6 or 8 of them.
Well,
Shorts.
He was part of Chaplin's Limelight, too.
Yeah, they were in a scene, big segment together, talking, which is cool. After all those years of doing the silent films, they're coming together and collab, and they're you can hear them.
Yeah, I think at the time, like Buster Keaton was broke, and Chaplin gave him a job, and bailed him out.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Limelight,
in that final scene in Limelight. So
yeah, a lot of those guys.
Cool to see him on stage together.
Yeah, it happened with Chaplin too. During the McCarthy communist witch hunts. I mean, a lot of these guys got on a lot of these lists and were outed as communists, whether they were or they weren't. It was a very unfortunate time.
Oh yeah. So back on to movies again. As far as like remakes, what's some of your favorites of those?
Remakes.
We're in the dawn of fucking it doesn't end.
Everything's a remake.
Everything's a remake.
Yeah. What about you guys? What's on your lists?
One of my favorites, John Carpenter's The Thing. I mean,
yeah,
Kurt Russell. It's just I love that fucking movie, dude. So great.
I'm a big fan of Coen Brothers' True Grit.
Really?
I wasn't as big on that.
I did like it a lot.
I just don't like westerns.
Yeah, I think I just like I think I like westerns a little more than you guys do.
No, I do, but I don't know. I didn't think it was that.
Didn't know you were a cowboy.
I lived in Texas.
I still say the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead is pretty fucking great.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always have fun with that.
Yeah, I agree with. I definitely agree with The Thing. That's the first one that comes to my mind. Another Dead movie, Tom Savini's remake of Night of the Living Dead. That movie, I remember when I saw that. I think it was 1990, 91, and that movie gave me nightmares. I mean, I love that film.
I haven't seen the remake, but I did actually check out the original for the first time this year. So,
well, the thing about the remake is it's hard to know you're getting the remake because they use a cover that's so similar to the original film. So for years I thought I couldn't find it, but then I realized that it was in the $5 bin, and I looked in the back. I was like, "This is it. This is the movie I've been looking for." So thanks to the Walmart $5 bin, I have one of my favorite movies. Love that film. 1976 King Kong is pretty damn good. I mean, when you consider, it was the most expensive movie to make up until that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was 1976, and it's a big De Laurentiis movie where there was a lot of mafia back doors where the money was kind of getting filtered into different ways, and the unions were all involved in everything. But man, for a guy in a gorilla suit, Rick Baker, wearing that gorilla, who did American Werewolf in London and all this stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he wore the gorilla suit, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful film. done on a grand scale. There's a new version of it out on Blu-ray with a lot of there was so many lost scenes because back then you would shoot additional scenes for television. Because you'd make more of your money showing it on network television once a year. So they would, and there was so many cuts of the film, cutting for time and for pacing and for violence, that a lot of the scenes got lost, and they just found a lot of those scenes and put the movie back together. Beautiful film.
What do you think of Peter Jackson's King Kong?
I just don't want to see digital Kong, man.
CGI shit.
That and the fact that it's like fucking 3 hours long for no reason. I mean, way too long.
Yeah, they could have cut out like the first part first.
My mom loved it.
Matt actually sent me that movie on Blue.
You're welcome.
Wow, what a shitty gift.
Appreciate it, Matt.
Well, what about, have you heard about Skull Island? Like any news on that? Did it get axed, or is it still going on?
No, that's still
a thing.
happening. That's it's got two of the African American guys from Straight Outta Compton, and
all right,
I think Tom Hiddleston is.
Well, that's going to be a fucking CGI suckfest, man.
Yeah, it is.
No doubt.
How else do you do it nowadays, you know?
Well, you guys like the new Planet of the Apes, right?
Yeah, but that's,
I
you
liked
know.
it, but I wasn't as big on Dawn, honestly.
Yeah, I like the first one a little better.
One I had a question to you guys about Cape Fear, Scorsese's remake.
I actually like that better.
I wasn't too big on it, honestly.
I liked it
I
better.
haven't seen that
than
in
the
a long
original.
time, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I love De Niro, but it just, I don't know, it didn't really do it for me.
Well, I mean,
I like the original with Robert Mitchum was in the original.
Yeah.
That's a
Gregory
great,
Peck.
That's a beautiful film. I'm a big Mitchum fan, but yeah, I liked Cape Fear. I mean, I don't know, man. De Niro just really hit it home, but man, that ending was a little strange when he's speaking in tongues.
I agree.
What about Scarface?
Scarface, another remake.
I haven't seen the original, but I love De Palma's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
to me,
classic.
it's classic, you know? In my high school party days, that was like,
It's okay.
Scarface, you know?
Little cheesy.
Yeah, Seth, you just watched that for the first time, right?
Yeah, it's, you know,
You
it's
killed
all right.
Robert Loggia, right? Didn't you? Don't do that.
That's not fucking funny, man. You get to the get to the parts in Scarface, you know, when it's like showing how much money he has, and they're like showing his fucking all the shit that he's buying. I'm like, what is this?
You got to
Is
think,
this serious?
dude, that's early '80s. You
Yeah,
know?
I get it. It was okay.
Money counting with a pop song.
Yeah, yeah. Those '80s montages was, we used to call them the music video parts of the movie
Yeah,
because
that's
that's
right,
really
yeah.
what they were modeled after. But so is that the only thing you didn't like about it, Seth? What else was just the kind of the passage of time?
Yeah, just I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was solid. I had a good time with it. But I don't know. I guess I
He's
was
very
expecting
good at
more of
not
a
having
serious tone.
reasons to dislike the movie.
Yeah,
It does
doesn't like it, he
take
doesn't
a
like
little bit to get into Scarface, De Palma's, you know?
I hate everything, Joe. That's the shtick on the. I hate every movie ever made.
And his favorite is Bucky Larson.
Born to be a star.
The cinematography on that, though, I mean, you can't argue with the cinematography on Scarface.
Oh,
though.
dude,
it was
that's-
beautiful.
Oh, no,
groundbreaking
yeah.
techniques back then.
The Robert
yeah.
Loggia scene when he has the Al Pacino has the cast on. There you go. I fucking love that. I think it's some artwork in the background with the sun and shit. It's really cool.
Well, I was gonna say really quick, talking about it. Do you have any favorite cinematographers that you absolutely love?
Who? Oh, me?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Deacons, right?
Yeah, Dario Argento was a cinematographer before he was a director, and I love when cinematographers become directors because when you work on a movie set, a lot of the times it's very hard to be like a producer or a director if you don't know everything about a camera, because you have to consult so many people. You have to consult so many departments. And if you have a background in cinematography, this was always one of my keys as a producer to making music videos very quickly and cost efficiently is I never had to consult the gaffer or
Because you got that part of the.
or the assistants. Yeah, so I would know how long it would take the camera to move. I would know how long it would take to set up the lights and bring up the lighting and run cable. which would always frustrate the gaffer because you're supposed to consult them whenever you. I remember we made this music video for the 69 Eyes, and I kept changing the lights, and the gaffer kept coming by and was like, "Who fucking changed my lights?" And I was like, "Dude, I hired you. I changed the goddamn lights." And I remember there was this argument because he kept on trying. Bam was the director of that video, 69 Eyes, Lost Boys, and he kept on trying to get Bam aside, away from me, so that he could work more closely with Bam. And I was like, "Dude, I'm the director of photography and the producer. Like, Bam doesn't know how long it takes to move the fucking camera. He doesn't know how long it takes to move the lights. He knows what's going to look good on fucking film. Let him worry about that. You work with." I mean, we really got into it with each other on that. But anyway, my other one is Stanley Kubrick, who was a very strong photographer.
Tell me The Shining, bro. Those tricycle scenes. I mean, that's some of the best Steadicam I've ever seen.
That was when the Steadicam first came out. That was the big Steadicam. I remember there was, back in the day, you guys don't remember this, there was an infomercial about the Steadicam back then.
Oh, wow.
It would be on like your local UHF public.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would be like a half an hour long, and it would be some camera dude showing you this rig. And I'd be like, why are they showing a Steadicam? Because they needed to publicize it somehow. So, yeah, it was crazy.
I couldn't even fathom the idea of them putting a commercial out for like a legit, like, DSLR or something. Now,
all in order now.
Yeah. Start your short film today.
There you go.
So, what are some of your guys' worst sequels?
Or sequels?
No,
Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber, yeah.
Dumb and Dumber.
Both Dumb and Dumber sequels are fucking ass.
How about Batman and Robin?
Oh, come on,
God,
man.
Oh man, you nailed that one. Jesus.
Joe, come on, bro. That's a great film.
Okay, guys, how about Tremors 2, 3, and however many they make?
Shit.
How about the new one?
I like
Jamie
Tremors
Kennedy.
too.
They're still pumping out Tremors.
What the hell is going on?
They just put one out with Jamie Kennedy. I swear to God.
They did?
Yeah. I don't know which one it is, but I mean, it just got released, I think, Blu-ray.
Malibu's Most Tremors.
Yeah, see, and I don't think you can have a bad sequel unless the first movie was awesome. So, like, I don't believe in, like, like having movies that sucked and make a sequel because it doesn't matter. It only matters at the first one. It's like, okay, guys, Creepshow 3.
Yeah.
Oh. It's not even a movie. Or Starship Troopers 2.
Yeah.
Oh, true. God.
We're all on the edge of our seat for a sequel to that.
Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop. The sequel to that.
Fuck.
RoboCop is, to me, it's fucking masterpiece. I love that fucking movie. But the sequel,
is that the one with the kid?
Yeah, you have RoboCop in a cage cell with a kid, 13-year-old smoking a cig and like a fucking machine gun in his hand.
I can get behind that.
Oh, I mean, it's fun. It's fun to watch. But
what about RoboCop 3 though? That's just atrocious.
I don't know if I've ever even dug in.
He's like flying around and shit, like a jetpack. It's like Rocketeer meets fucking
Arnold
RoboCop.
Schwarzenegger's Jingle All the Way.
Oh, fuck.
It is actually, yeah.
How about Terminator 4?
Yeah.
How about Genesis?
You know what?
Is that the one you
fallen
guys
asleep
went and
in the-
seen?
Pardon?
Yeah, that's the one you and Salvation. Did you do you were in a Cool Dude video for that, right?
I've fallen asleep in 2 movies. When I was a kid, I saw Star Wars, and I fell asleep for like 10 minutes, and my dad woke me up when he realized I'd fallen asleep. 'Cause I was a teeny weeny little kid, but I fell asleep during Terminator 4. It was so. I mean, those digital explosions every second of the damn thing. Oh my God!
Yeah. That story ends.
You know?
Yeah, that story ends in T2. When they lower him down.
There's only 2 movies to me.
How was Genesis, Seth?
Fuck off, man.
I was just asking. How was it?
I got peer pressured into going to see that. It wasn't good.
Well, you mentioned Star Wars. He got
peer pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that's like when you have sex with the ugly girl at the party. Oh, guys, I was jumping on the grenade, taking one for the team. I thought it would be good, Seth.
The cheap bastard gets peer pressured into Genesis.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought maybe there's
Seth.
a chance. It wasn't good, though.
Is that the same thing with Taken 3, Seth?
Yes,
Dumb and Dumber.
I went to see Dumb and Dumber 2 and Taken 3 and all those other shitty sequels. They're all
At least you had a screener pass for Dumb and Dumber 2.
Dumb and Dumber 2 was free, but I did pay for Taken 3. Fuck.
Yeah.
How about Rambo 3? That was terrible. That was
man. Yeah, I agree, dude.
I love the new one. The new one's awesome, but man, Rambo 3 was just, I don't know, it was just so terrible. It's Caddyshack 2. Oh.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of The Godfather
Christmas
Part
Story
3?
2.
I liked it.
Yeah?
I have to be the only one who really liked it because
the whole thing for me is the Vatican storyline. I really don't care for that.
I'm not big on it, no. Especially when he puts his daughter in there.
Even though that movie gets shit on, there's the classic line of Al Pacino, they pulled me out and well, that was a horrible impression, but they pulled me out and they pulled me right back in,
Look like you're going for a Scarface Pacino there.
I don't know. I mix it up.
how about Star Wars 1 through 3?
Yeah, ass.
Yeah.
They're prequels, I guess they don't really count.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if you don't like CGI, fucking those movies, man. Good God.
Yeah, they're damn near impossible to sit through. But the originals. How old were you, Joe, when the first one came out? Or were you even born?
I was like 6 or something, 5, 6.
Damn, that's the target age.
Mm-hmm. No, every year was a Star Wars Christmas, man. I mean, you would get you'd get all the action figures, and you'd accidentally throw away the guns because you were too little to know that they were adhere to the packaging. You'd have to go through the trash bags and get the guns back. And I was always envious of the kids that got like the AT-AT or the Millennium Falcon or any of the big play sets. It was I did have the Death Star space station though.
Damn.
How do you feel about the new one?
Yeah, the day people are hearing this is the day it comes out. So you going to see it?
I don't like to go to the theater. I mean, I have a movie theater in my house, so I just always wait for the Blu-ray and pay an exorbitantly high amount of money for the first day it comes out. So
I agree, man. That's the way to do it.
Do you ever go out new release Tuesday and get anything, or?
I just don't. Dude, when you have a high def 16-foot by 9-foot projection movie in your house, you just lose all motivation to leave. It's like going to the library when you have every book that's ever written in your house.
Yep.
That's my thing. I mean, I hate going to the theater. I like to, being in my own home. I hate people in the theater. Like, seriously. I've had some bad moments, like with movies that, when I watch that movie again, I'll never forget that one moment when that dumb bitch in the back screams, "Hit him, stupid!"
You know what though?
I get anxiety.
I used to love to go. I'm in Philadelphia, so I used to go to West Philadelphia to see the Jackie Chan movies.
Oh.
Because you would have, all the people there would scream at the movie theater, at the movie screen. Oh, motherfucker! Blah, blah, blah. And the shit that was going on in the audience was actually almost as entertaining as the movie. Like, you'd have some guy, and was part of the price of admission. Like, I remember there was this one guy. It was Rumble in the Bronx. And the guy in front of me gets on the phone. I'm like, this son of a bitch brought his phone in the movie theater and left it on. But it was so entertaining. He gets on the phone, and he's like, "Yo, bitch, I'm in the movie theater. I'm in the movie theater, motherfucker. You call me back. I told you I was going to. The bitch hung up on me. Yo, bitch. Get the fuck up." Screams at her for hanging up on him. So that was the big story.
Rumble in Bronx just got a Blu release, actually, so
it's a great movie.
That's my favorite, man.
Oh, I love that, man. Yeah. I think I don't know if it's that movie, but for like most of the shoot, I believe he had like a broken foot or something.
Jesus
Jackie
Christ.
Chan, he does his own stunts, so
Beast.
You a huge Rocky fan?
Yeah. I'm a Philadelphian.
That's unfortunate.
I'm born and raised in South Philly, and I love you can't not. So what's going on with the new Rocky? What have you guys heard?
I've heard it's really good. You saw it, right, Filmies?
Yeah, I went and saw it. It's actually pretty decent. I know I think all of us actually just despised it when it was first announced, but it's actually pretty decent.
Is it as hood as you would think from the trailers?
No, it's not as hood, but it's not as Rocky either. If you get what I'm saying.
That's like an Oreo.
Critical acclaim all over that.
Well, I know Stallone's getting a Golden Globe nomination for that movie. So
yeah.
If you ever thought Stallone would get an award, this could be it.
Best supporting actor.
Jesus.
No, I mean, I love the last one. So
did I, man.
I like them all, to be honest.
I didn't. The one I have trouble watching is the one where he fights Drago.
Oh, my favorite.
Damn.
Dude,
that's your favorite?
I honestly agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then again, I don't like Rocky, but
a lot of people that aren't huge on the series, that's their favorite.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I'm not big
I remember watching that in the 80s. It was the height of the Cold War. We all hated the commies. And I remember, and Rocky's going to win in the end, but I remember I was watching it in like a financially deprived neighborhood called Eddystone, which is a suburb of Philadelphia. And I was watching it with this huge family. It was like the network premiere. And they were crying during, come on, Rocky! And they were cheering as if it was a real fight. And I was like, Rocky's going to win. And there's nothing wrong with getting caught up in some of the emotion of the Rocky films. Like his wife has she's going to lose the baby, and you can cry, but like, don't cry during the fight. He's going to win.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to pull it out, man.
Let's hear it, Joe. How many times you've been to the Rocky Stairs, being from Philly?
Yeah. Not as many as you think, but I did have my photo taken at the Rocky statue. And what's funny is,
me too.
I watch people. Okay, so at the morning, homeless dudes have a racket. They will come and they will stand in front of the Rocky statue, and they will charge you to get your picture taken, even though it's just a free thing. So they will, but people from out of town don't know any better. So it's like so these homeless dudes will go to the thrift store. They'll buy something that looks kind of official. They'll wear like some khakis and like an Oxford blue shirt and some new looking shoes, and they'll stand there in front of the thing all day and collect $5 a head for people to get their photo taken.
They probably make fucking bank, man.
Smart.
They do.
I'm gonna do that shit.
When I went there, there was some. I don't know if he was homeless or not, but just some guy.
You?
Some guy was selling off knockoff Rocky stuff. I bought one. I bought a Rocky shirt.
You contributed to his cracky beast.
But I fucking love Philadelphia, man. My dad's from there, so we go there often.
I'm from St. Louis, dude, and like every exit you take anywhere, I'm real close to East St. Louis, so I mean every exit, dude, there's a bum hanging out.
East St. Louis is the spot in National Lampoon's Vacation where they wind up in the ghetto and.
Is that what they write? They write honky lips on the car.
Yes, that's East St. Louis.
I love that. It's like, well, kids, there's the St. Louis Arch. It's the 40 stories to the top. That's 400 feet to you and me. Wow, Dad, can we go up? Nope.
Nope.
I've lived here my whole life. I've never fucking been in there. Like all these bums, dude. They all gather around. They all share an apartment complex together. And from what I hear, they make about like $150-$200 a day.
Damn.
And they all pitch in and fucking crack it up and live it up.
I'm in the wrong field.
Yeah. And I think you need to get out of the nursing home.
Yeah. Going homeless.
Hey guys, what is the most overrated film or films series to you guys?
Avatar.
Rocky.
Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he fucking hates it, don't you, Seth?
Yeah,
can't stand it.
I thought the third one was. I bought the third one on Blu-ray. I've watched it 6 times and I have never made it to the end, man. It is the worst. First of all, he speaks in the Grover Yoda voice, which is stupid.
Damn.
And the fight was the worst choreographed fight in a big budget film I have ever seen. It's like, all right, you guys act like you're hitting each other. We'll film it from a bunch of different angles. It'll edit together later. Like when I see a fight, I want to see good fight choreography, like a Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee or whoever. Like it was terrible.
Couldn't agree more, man. That shit sucks.
I know one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is one of the most overrated things to ever happen to film.
Yeah, I'm over it, man.
Oh, it's pretty soon. It's going the way of the Western, bro. I mean, it's that.
I don't
type.
think it's stopping.
Like,
We're losing all our listeners of this conversation.
No, I think
but I mean, seriously, Avengers is the most. I've heard so many motherfuckers say Avengers 1's my favorite movie ever. Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
I mean, the guy's probably 12. So
No,
No, they're
I've
like
seen
30.
guys with fucking hair on their face say that. So.
Oh, okay.
So
God,
people
yeah,
who,
that one, and it's a DC film, but that one Superman movie, I don't know which one it was,
Kevin
but
Spacey
The
one?
Bryan Singer one, I bet.
it was the one where the entire first half of the movie takes place like on a soundstage in a diorama set, and it's just dudes standing around talking. You know, was it
Is that
Superman
the Bryan
Return?
Singer one?
I'm not sure. I've never
I'm
seen
not
them.
Well, Bryan Singer's is like '05, and then I mean, they put out Man of Steel like a couple years back, and that's Snyder's.
Yeah.
Didn't like that one
Fantastic
either.
Four was terrible.
Oh, I've heard.
Oh, you
that.
actually you saw that?
I bought it because I'm a big fan of the old, the old comics. So,
Yeah.
I never saw it.
you know,
Oh yeah,
My-
dude. I had to. Did you ever see those other ones? I won't even call them Fantastic Four movies.
The ones with
that came out in
Alba?
the early 2000s.
no, that's what I mean. The Jessica Alba one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
you
I
thought
was
that
thinking you were talking about the reboot they just did.
No. I'm talking about the Jessica Alba one, man. Oh God.
Oh, yeah, that's
and,
atrocious.
and those Spider-Man ones that came out in the early 2000s were. I mean, see, I'm a comic book nerd, so I love the tension and the drama that comes from the superhero life, trying to always being in conflict with the person's identity, and the fact that he beats up Flash in the movie destroyed it. It's like that was in the comic book, that was such a strong a point of conflict in his personality, where there's a school bully. He can definitely beat him up, but he has to act subservient to him at all times because he doesn't want anyone to discover his identity. And I don't want him to be the hero of the school and be loved by everyone. I want him.
Yeah.
Probably a studio move.
It destroys it because that's not what being a teenager is about.
What about worst sequels? Spider-Man 3, that emo jazz scene with fucking.
Oh my God.
Dude, I'm sorry, Toby, if you're listening.
He's not.
Hate you, bro. Seriously, I don't like your movies. You ruined the Great Gatsby remake. You or Baz Luhrmann, I don't know, but
Oh God,
fuck,
Baz Luhrmann that did it.
like, dude, anything I've seen Toby in, he ruins it.
dude, that Great Gatsby remake. I bought that for $30 the day it came. It was
Don't
so-
shit on that, Joe. I'm telling you, man.
Shit on it, please.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Shit on it, Joe.
Leo's the man.
What's up with the rave music? Like, I want to hear Scott Joplin piano ragtime. I don't want to
There you
hear
go.
rave.
I mean, I would have liked to listen to Jay-Z in the 1920s.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
I'd rather
Robert
not
Redford
listen to
any
him
day.
ever.
No, like, I was super hyped for that, dude. The way they marketed that trailer, and I believe the trailer music, is that Imagine Me and You. And it was like a rendition of that song, and I thought it was great, but
Well,
disappointment, man.
guess I'm the only fan of that one.
No, I like it too,
Really, you
honestly.
like that movie?
Oh, I love it, man.
What did you like about it?
What? God damn it, Joe! You make me analyze the
Put him
Great
on the
Gatsby.
spot.
I like Leo D, so it's automatically like a 4 stars. DiCaprio in there.
He makes everything better.
Tobey Maguire, he's okay. He didn't really bother me. I'm normally not a fan, but I don't know. I thought it was well made. I could do without the rap though. It was a little out of place.
You'd suck him off.
Yeah.
For $1 million.
I'm a big fan of DiCaprio as well. I mean, you can't argue with. I mean, him and Django was just.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was good.
Yeah. What about? Did you see the previews for The Revenant, Joe? I mean, the
No.
cinematography on that.
No, what is that? I haven't heard about
That's
that.
Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu's next film, the director.
Yeah,
of
YouTube
Birdman.
that trailer as soon as we're done with this, man. That's probably something you'll
I mean,
like.
Annual
Honestly,
obesity, baby.
I haven't watched it yet, but it looks like hands down the best cinematography of all time.
Wow.
I want you to check that out, man.
And what do you guys hear about The Hateful Eight? Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen
No, but
it.
I heard the reviews are actually really good for
It's
it.
good. It's
I
long.
want to try
and
see it in 70 mil.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I want to see it in 70 mil.
I think it's coming out here, so I'm gonna try to hit it up.
I mean, Kurt Russell, man. I mean, I'm the biggest Kurt Russell fan from back in the day when he was a Disney kid. He was in The Strongest Man in the World. Like, he was like the replacement guy for Tommy Kirk, who was in the old black and white, The Absent-Minded Professor. Merlin Jones, the Shaggy Dog, and he got a little too old, and everyone started realizing he was a homosexual, which was you couldn't be gay in Hollywood then. So they replaced him with Kurt Russell, and he was in some great Disney films. The Computer wore tennis shoes, and he reinvented himself, of course, with the Thing, which we talked about earlier, and Escape from New York. But man, I've always been a huge Kurt Russell fan. His performance in Death Proof. I've seen Death Proof 100 times. I can watch it 100 more.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
I love it.
It's very underrated.
We have an on-running thing on this podcast, Backdraft, Joe. Kurt Russell's performance in Backdraft is fucking brilliant.
I have to revisit that.
Fuck you, that movie sucks.
Thank you. Sorry, but no, it is seriously. I mean, I love it.
Dude,
it's
that's my brother.
Tombstone,
God damn it, you know what I'm saying?
It's not Big Trouble in Little China though, man. That's a masterpiece right there.
Yeah.
There you go. Fucking love it, man. Death Proof is good though, man. Very underrated. You don't hear anyone talk about it, but I really enjoy it.
Now, who could win in a fight? Snake Plissken of Escape from New York versus what's his name from Big Trouble? Jack Burton from Big Trouble. Two Kurt Russell characters.
It's
put them in a room. They got a fist fight. Who's gonna win?
It's Plissken all day.
Yeah. Burton.
Have you seen
Jack,
Escape
you
from
would
New York,
see that.
Seth?
I have.
Come on, guys. We need a tiebreaker here. Let's put it to a vote.
Filmies, it's you, man.
I haven't seen either one of them.
Wow. Some movie fan on a movie podcast.
He doesn't have ginger hair? Never mind.
I'm sorry.
But you really haven't seen either one of those films. How is that possible?
Goddamn kids today.
You know what's interesting I hear from a lot of kids is a lot of people ask me what my influences are. I always bring up Alfred Hitchcock. Ooh. And there's always a kid in the room who goes,
"Who's that?
I've heard of him."
But
he makes black and white films, and black and white equals boring.
Oh my god.
Have you heard about there was a new documentary that was just put out called Truffaut Hitchcock, where Francois Truffaut interviewed him for a couple weeks about just filmmaking and stuff like that in general. And I guess it was a book put out back maybe in the 60s or 70s. And
I have that here on my shelves. That's one of my favorite filmmaking books.
That's awesome, dude.
I'm a big Truffaut fan.
Yeah, but I guess they adapted it into a documentary and put those tapes, they put them to use. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it just came out to I guess theaters, so it doesn't have a home release yet, but I'm anxious to check that out for sure.
And I didn't know that those were audio tapes. I thought that those were just transcribed. I guess I never thought about it. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if they're audio. They could be. I mean, they might have video footage, but I mean, as far as I know, it's just a documentary on that meeting that they had.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's something I'm real anxious to check out. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I hate to say it, but the only Hitchcock film I've seen is Psycho.
And you get on me?
That's a good start.
Well, get on me. There's a bunch I want to see. I want to see Rope. I know of Max.
Rear Window is amazing.
Yeah, see, I'm tired of love shit. I need a fucking Jimmy Stewart film.
Yeah. Now, Dial M for Murder was originally done in 3D.
Yeah, I have that version.
Yeah, I seen they re-released that in blue. Is that the 3D version?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's both. I have it.
Oh, that's dope.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. It's freaking awesome.
Well, we always go over the Blu-ray releases and the theater releases each week, Joe. So, gonna go over them. Let's see what you hear.
Okay.
Pan.
Yes.
December 2nd.
Great start.
Yeah, I'm sure Joe's gonna leave his awesome home theater to go see fucking Pan.
Pan now? Pan, as far as I know, he was a Roman. He was a satyr, which was like a half horse, half person. He played a flute. Are we talking about the same Pan?
I don't know what the fuck.
He might have.
That sounds better than this one.
Yeah. This is the one with Hugh Jackman, as far as I know. I'm not too familiar with the Pan story, honestly, but yeah, Pan's coming.
I don't care too much about it.
Yeah.
What about 12 Rounds 3 with, we got Dean Ambrose? Anyone? No?
Is that the wrestler?
Yeah, buddy.
Wow, I'm sure that's a great one.
Let's see. There isn't much coming out really. December 24th, we have Little House on the Prairie season 7.
Oh my god! If that's the best we got, we should move on.
Yeah.
Wait. I don't understand. What are we talking about here?
These are the
just
movies that are
the-
coming to Blu-ray.
The Blu-rays that are coming out this upcoming week.
Okay. That's why I was like, Little House in the Prairie. Mike Landon's dead. I didn't. Okay, I got it.
They have a hologram of him now.
I mean, we do this every episode, and it's usually pretty fucking lackluster. But
Well,
yeah.
I've got some theatrical releases for you.
I hope you get some better ones, buddy.
So we've got the new indie film coming out, Star Wars Episode 7.
I've never heard
about that.
It's getting pretty good reviews from what I've heard so far.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
made
I know
that for like $200,000, right?
Yeah, the 200G. The day we're recording this on Wednesday, it's doing pretty well in the critical runway. So yeah, I guess it's.
I'm
We think it
personally
wasn't
pretty
gonna be
excited for it, but I want to see it before I get spoiled, honestly.
Well, you never know. I mean, with those prequels, it could have got shit on. Who knows?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah, one of the I remember when they first started talking about it. I remember Kevin Smith, and if you guys know anything about it, don't tell me anything. I literally don't want to know anything about it. But I remember it pissed me
Seth
off.
does.
Kevin Smith was saying that he had a theory where it will begin with like Han Solo getting killed, and then they go to avenge his death. And I was like, that is the shittiest. I really hope that's not what they ended up doing. Then I started hearing other things about it, and then I just stopped listening. But I'm so glad to hear that the fans are liking it, because man, that would have crushed Disney.
Yeah.
And I mean, they are in such debt. How much did that franchise sell for? How
$4
much
billion, I believe.
Yeah.
Good
I mean,
God.
that's the national debt of a third world country.
I've stayed away from everything. The only thing I've heard is that J.J. Abrams captured the magic of the originals, and that's the only thing I want to hear.
That's great.
Have you seen J.J. Abrams now, like versus when he started making it?
He's like a president.
He's like fucking Obama. It's like he looks so much older. Like it's taking a toll on him. It's crazy.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and I know they shot all those in film as well. I remember I was very happy when they originally went into production, and one of the first things they wrapped up was a big contract with Kodak, in order to facilitate the production and all the shooting in 35 and 70. And I was just really, as good as digital is, you still cannot beat the texture of film and just how special it is when that camera rolls. You know, the meter's ticking. You don't know what's going to be on that film when you get it back, and you don't know if there's going to be a hair in the gate or any kind of it's just
Right.
it just really made it. You know, the other thing where I think they really messed up on the first three, the prequels, was in doing it on high def green screen, was that most of the times the characters, although they were all good actors, they weren't in the same room at the same time during their performances, and they didn't get a chance to feed off of each other. So their performances were very cardboard. So when you direct like that, you say, okay, give me a line that's monotone. Okay, now bring it up a notch. Give me a little more emotion. Now be sad. Now imagine being an actor having to go through all these different emotions in one sitting and not being able to feed off another person. Man, you lose something, the magic that happens when actors are in the same room at the same time.
Yeah.
And but you know, those movies actually did really great in the foreign languages because you couldn't tell how bad the acting was.
Yep, makes sense.
Yep.
It's true. Yeah.
I don't know.
Seth loves Hayden. Hayden
Yeah,
Christensen.
I'm a Hayden Christensen fan, but those movies just they're not very good. Poor
He's
Natalie
all right.
Portman. Natalie Portman's getting death threats when that shit came up.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So Abrams got you say he aged a decade, right?
I mean, he just
He-
looks.
he
you
looks
can tell
like
it took
it.
a toll on him.
What'd you guys think of his Star Trek hiatus?
Great
Or, I
reboot.
mean, his Star Trek contribution.
I think they're
We're all
great, man.
fans.
I love
But
it.
I've never been a big Trekkie, so that was kind of
Well,
like
yeah, that's what I say. He made Star Trek likable for non-Trekkies.
Yeah, that was honestly my introduction into the Star Trek franchise.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I love the Star Trek films, but you know the first by Robert Wise is by far my favorite. It's a huge special effects film. So at the time, of course, they wanted to capitalize on the whole space craze from the Star Wars series, and so they wanted to put a lot of the grandeur that was in 2001: A Space Odyssey, and a lot of people think the movie is so boring, but I think it is one of the only true science fiction films ever made. Like, for example,
top 20 of all time for me.
Yep.
Oh, the original Star Wars, the motion picture.
I meant 2001, but
okay. Yeah,
sorry.
I mean, there was actually a real-time space docking sequence in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. So, in other words, there's 7 minutes, no dialogue, because it takes 7 minutes for to transport in the little pod from the space station to the USS Enterprise, and for 7 minutes. There's no dialogue, and it's just shots of the ship and this beautiful music, and there's not an edit every 3-4 seconds, and there's no action, but there's just so much beauty and grandeur, and
You're just in awe.
it's just this is a scene that will never be repeated, and it's one of the only times in cinema history where they just say, hey, enjoy this. Just enjoy these beautiful shots. You've never seen anything like this. And all those effects still hold up to this day. At the end, when they see V'ger, Peter Coran did the effects for that, the visual effects, and they needed to create an alien that was so big and so vast and that no one could ever imagine. And when you see V'ger, it is unimaginable. You cannot visualize anything like this in your head. They wanted to create a creature that was so big it encompassed and swallowed entire universes. And the scale and scope of what V'ger is, I've never seen anything like it. And those effects hold up to this day. It's just an amazing, beautiful film. Very underestimated and underrated to this day.
Dang,
I need to. I've wanted to check those out. I've stayed away from them for some reason.
Yeah, the other ones, it's just action films.
Yeah.
So the other ones are just Star Trek action films. But the first Star Trek: The Motion Picture, amazing. The director Robert Wise, The Day the Earth Stood Still, another classic science fiction film. Anyway, I'll shut up. But I
No, it's
out
interesting.
Yeah. Well, what else coming out, filmies?
We've got the Scissor Fest Carol with Kate Blanchett and Rooney Mara.
I love those women, actually, though.
No, I mean Kate Blanchett's fucking great. Rooney Mara,
she's one of my favorite actresses. Still working today.
for sure.
She's great in The Aviator.
And Rooney
I thought it
Mara.
was actually a movie called Scissor Fest. I'm like, I've never heard of that one.
15.
Yeah, it's called Blue is the Warmest Vagina.
Running with Scissor Fest.
Anybody want to run out and see that one?
I don't know. Maybe if I pick up Rosie O'Donnell, make a movie out and about.
Next, we have the next comedy classic from Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, Sisters.
Ugh. I fucking hate new movies, man.
Since I've known Seth, probably about 2, maybe 3 years now. I don't remember him really ever getting excited for a movie.
Well, listen to this fucking list. Listen how uninspiring it is.
Other than one, I want to go off topic real quick. Joe, we're huge fans of Richard Linklater on this podcast.
Yeah.
I got to know, did you see Boyhood?
Didn't see Boyhood, but Slacker was one of my first.
That's sacrilegious.
Was one of the first indie films I've ever seen.
Okay, yeah. No, I
did Slacker, right?
Yeah, he did Slacker, and my all-time favorite movie, Dazed and Confused. That's my all-time favorite.
Yeah, great film. I saw that in the theater 3 times.
I wish I could fucking see that in the theater. What about the Before trilogy? You see those?
No, never saw those. But back to Dazed and Confused. One of the reasons that movie was so special was you had in the 70s and 80s you had this this new genre kind of called the screwball comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a return to those. There was a movie called what was it called? Out of Control. It had Matt Dillon in it. It was about a bunch.
I know what you're talking about.
In a suburbia in Texas,
and they rise against the fucking school.
Yeah, against the police, and a policeman gets shot, and that's a great film. There's another great film with called The Chicken Chronicles. which is I actually want to I want to say Steve Guttenberg.
Love that guy.
Oh, you have my attention.
Great actor.
Yeah, the Chicken Chronicles is Steve Guttenberg is in the movie. Great film. If you want to see kind of an earlier version of
Dazed,
Dazed and Confused, you got to see it. But anyway,
my
shut
thing
up.
with Dazed is like it goes from a party movie to like a coming of age, like you're a fucking adult, get with it, like right now. Like in that one scene on the football field where, he's talking about signing the piece of paper and McConaughey, same bullshit they tried to pull in my day. It's just like,
Sounds like a black guy.
Fucking love, yeah, that was, but I fucking love that movie.
Your accents are off tonight.
I've never been good at impersonating
Michael Clark Duncan.
But what were you saying about that? About it being a coming of age film?
Well,
What are your
just like,
thoughts on
because Randall Pink Floyd, I think it's Jason London or Jeremy London. Just like the whole movie, he's contemplating playing football next year. It's pretty cliche, but I mean, just the fact that he just wants to hang out with his friends and party, and everyone can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Just I don't know. I fucking love that movie, man.
Yeah, it's adolescence is such a strange time because you're torn in so many different directions. There's so many things that you think you ought to do, and because you're told that these are the things that make you successful and they make you popular. And that film just did such a good job at showing the compromise that teens have to go through in order to live their lives and develop into who they were meant to be and who they want to be.
Yeah, that's fucking perfectly said. One last question for you, man. We've all met up a couple times. Matt's in L.A., Seth's in Iowa.
Iowa.
I'm in St. Louis. Filmies is in Arizona, and we've wanted to make a short film together, and what's the best way you think that we could accomplish that? Like, what's advice that you might have for us?
You mean as far as the challenge of being in different geographic locations?
Yeah, say we meet up once or twice a year. What's our best advantage to that?
I would say that what you ought to do is spend a lot of time in pre-production and contemplating how you're going to do it,
right,
knowing that you're going to have to change it once you get to the location. But there's a reason why you work so hard to plan everything out, and that's so you can change it very easily and quickly and fluid. There's only so many things that you can preconceive when you're making a film.
Right.
And it all depends on that strong vision. And then once you get into the location and you have this chemistry and this conception of what you wanted it to be, you find this compromise. And sometimes some of the most special things happen in that situation. The worst thing you can do, and I've seen so many people just try and wing it, and it's just horrible. And it just frustrates me to no end when people just show up with cameras and just a loose script. And it just, to me, that's not what filmmaking is about. The other thing is work hard and work relentlessly. And
we actually pinned a script for, about 6 months. We worked on this thing, and, we all met up, and the audio fell through, and, it's just a lot of problems. Like, it wasn't, what we expected, and I don't know. I just mean, we want to get something going, though,
Well, the other thing is, too, a lot, and I see this all the time. Every now and then I'll make like a little appearance in an indie film because it's a fun thing to do. And I'm an indie guy, and I love to watch other young artists work and develop themselves. And, man, let me tell you, and for all the filmmakers out there, don't skip out on the fucking audio. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I know you think that these camera mics are going to pick everything up. Man, get some lavaliers. If you don't know how to use audio, Lavaliers aren't a lot of money. A little mixing board isn't a lot of money. Buy that shit. And if you can't find a sound guy who's going to do it for free, you practice and practice and practice. Because I don't care how good your cinematography is, I don't care how good your locations are, I don't care how good the acting is. If your sound isn't good, the film will only be as good as the sound. You can still have mediocre cinematography and make a decent film and work it into the aesthetic. If your sound sucks, your movie's going to suck. You know, I did this. I recently did a short for this filmmaker, and I was like, and he had his ducks in a row. He did a good job on the script, the casting, all this stuff. I was like, and he released the film. I was like, dude, the audio.
Yeah.
Like, I know you have it on the mics. You didn't even ride the levels. And his excuse was, I wanted to get out faster. I was like, all right, motherfucker, you're going to have to live with that for the rest of your life. A movie that no one will like because it seems so fucking unpolished and unprofessional. Spend time on audio.
I would sit on something for years before I would, unless I was ready to release it. Like ADR, is that with anything you direct or release, is that something that always comes into play? Or
I don't believe in that. I don't like to do that. It always looks fake. It always sounds fake. And to do it correctly, it takes far longer, and it's far more expensive, and it's way harder to do if you ADR it than if you get it properly on set during the time of filming. And so many people are like, you just ADR it. Yeah, if you want it to suck. What type of film are you guys interested in making?
Well, the idea that we had was just a loose 7 to 8 minute short film. It was like a coming of age type thing. I'll just say it here on the podcast. This is actually the first time I've ever revealed it, but
breaking news.
You heard it here first.
Breaking news. Basically, we were gonna shoot it with what we had, Seth's apartment, whenever we went to Iowa to visit him or whatever.
Because there's nothing else to do here, so we had to entertain
Got to kill some time.
But basically, Seth was gonna play a guy that was kind of hurt, whatever. Filmies was like a pizza delivery boy. And Seth was like the character that had kind of, he's seen it, been there, done that. He's kind of trying to push Filmies you don't have to be a fucking pizza delivery boy. Like, you could do anything you want in life, stuff like that. And prior to the beginning, Filmies' character, a lot of shit happens to him. His girlfriend dumps him. His boss is like, you have to work late, and I don't know. We tried to fit all this shit in 7 minutes if we could, but the audio just really fell through. But no, I worked on the script for 5 months at least.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, yeah.
Does he talk him into being a murderer at the end? Does he recruit him?
That would have been good.
That's where it sounds like it's going. So
I think we did say that.
A dark twist.
Yeah.
But, it was the same thing. We got to the point where, we knew that audio was so important. If we weren't going to do it right, then we weren't going to do it at all.
Well, especially with that, that's all talking,
It's all,
that whole concept is talking, it's gotta sound good, or else who the fuck's gonna watch it?
Yeah, but that's what I've always if you're gonna, someone like us, the average person, work with what you have. So, and that's kind of how we tried to do that, but didn't work out.
It's still there.
Hey, it's still there, but I hate the script honestly now, so I scrapped it.
You know what? There's wisdom in not filming as well, because I've seen people realize they don't have their ducks in a row, and they're like, well, we're here, let's shoot it. And sometimes there's a time and place for let's just shoot something to get it in a can. Sometimes you have to know when you're beat and when it's time to regroup, and that does take that is a discipline, and it does take a lot of self-awareness for that. So maybe you did the right thing in waiting.
Yeah. But no, and that's my first attempt, or our first attempt at anything. So, at least we're trying. That's all I got.
Yeah, we
to
made
say,
it all the way up to the point where you have to do it.
What type of camera did you want to use?
Ideally we were going to use a DSLR, like a Canon DSLR. But I wanted to get good audio equipment. I just couldn't get it in time. So when we went there, and I think we were gonna buy it, right, or rent it, and then
or we were
return
gonna
it.
try to rent or something, But I mean,
Yeah.
what's Iowa have
Just
to
like
offer?
an Audio Technica or some type of,
You've worked on a
shotgun.
few, Matt, right?
Yeah, I have an audio degree that I don't use, but
No, didn't you work on something that got released or didn't get released? Or-
yeah, I have like
Tyler
2 or 3 like black independent films. Yeah, it's fun.
What do you mean, like dark comedy? What do you mean?
No,
black?
they were like Tyler Perry like style
Like black people.
comedies, black comedies.
Wasn't there a scene you were the audio guy like in the bathtub or something?
Yeah, with the chick from High School Musical. I had to sit in a bathtub for like 3 hours trying to get this audio shot because it was a mirror, so I couldn't be seen, and so I had to put it was awkward. But yeah, 3 hours in a bathtub.
That was
You
one
got
of the first
what
things
you got to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was one of the first things that surprised me as a young filmmaker was the places that a talented audio guy had to hide. I was like, oh my God, I never really thought about how you capture sound. It's like, yeah, you're the dude in the bath, you're the dude underneath the table while we're shooting the dinner scene. That freaked me out.
Well, also too, the director wanted to do this long Tarantino 20-minute take. And he didn't even care that I had to hold it like for 20 minutes, and he wanted to do it from 3 different shots. It was fun, one of those things. But yeah, I mean you learn a lot from that.
I myself, dude, I'd be anxious to work on anything,
Yeah.
I work a shitty fucking average Joe job that.
What do you do?
hate. I work for a welding supply company. I'm a delivery driver. I deliver like oxygen, acetylene, gases like that, and I fucking hate it.
That doesn't sound like a bad way to make a living. It could be worse. You could have been me at 26 years old working at a photo mat.
Yeah, I get. Well, making $6 an hour, I would be pretty fucking depressed.
My
with a
situation
college
isn't much
degree.
better.
What's your situation, Seth?
Well, I'm 25 with a bachelor's degree, and I work security overnight
I did that.
at an old folks' home.
I did
Needless
that.
to say-
I worked as a security guard when I was going through college. I used to love it because, and I wasn't making much. I think I was making like $7.25 an hour, but I would only have to work for a couple hours a shift, checking people in. The rest of the time I could study. So for me, it was like getting paid to get my studies done. And after work, I had got my studies and work done. It's time to go out with my friends or work on my art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do all right. It's a fucking cake job. It's 8 hours of nothing, but
Well, my only thing is, I've been there since I was 17, and I'm 24 now, and it's just like, man, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. I want to do something I love,
Start working.
Aren't you doing something you love to do this, don't you?
Oh, I mean, I love doing this, but it could always be more. But we've only been doing this for about since
Not even a year.
February.
yeah, not even a year.
Yeah, we've gotten really lucky with this podcast, to be honest.
Yeah, you guys have a great chemistry.
Yeah, I mean, I think secretly we all hate each other, but it works out.
It's not secret.
Matt, great hat. No,
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what do we think? We're at 2 hours, doing pretty good on time. What do you say, guys? Wrap it up, call it an episode?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
call it.
Special thanks, Joe, for coming on the show, man. Really, really appreciate you having you on. Let the people out there know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter on Joe Frantz Rules. I'm on Instagram as Joe Frantz Rules. I'm on YouTube as Joe Frantz Films, and there's 2 Joe Frantzes. There's a personal and a page on Facebook, Joe Frantz, Frantz. Guys, thank you so much for having me. I had a great time. I think we got a good chemistry, and anytime you guys want to have me back, I'd love to return to Cinema Scumbags.
We'd love to have you on, man.
Yeah, man, it's fucking great time. Anytime, man. We'll definitely get you back
If
on
you
here.
guys are listening, get Joe Frantz fucking verified on Twitter. Joe Frantz Rules.
I'll put a link down in the
Remember that.
description.
There you go.
And buy Dream Seller on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Dream Seller, we're working with the publishers to put out a revised edition. Now that Novak is sober, Brandon Novak, of course, is the central character of Dream Seller. He's one of the members of the CKY crew and a MTV Jackass, a star of Viva la Bam and all that stuff. The book Dream Seller is about his struggle with heroin as a kid, and his he was discovered by Tony Hawk at a very young age. He was supposed to be the next big skateboard prodigy, and he went from traveling the world, signing autographs for kids, skating for Paulo Peralta, to selling his body to middle-aged men for heroin money and bathing in Burger King bathrooms. And now that Novak is sober, years after the book's release, we are putting together a second edition of Dream Seller that now has a happy ending. 5,000 additional words, new cover. We're very excited about it.
Awesome.
So it should be out soon. It's now December 2015. So it should be out in 2016. So check it on out. Dream Seller Revised Edition.
Follow Joe, buy the book, read it. Thanks again, Joe. Appreciate it. Guys, it was a fun episode. Another one in the books. Thank you guys for listening. And as always, go fuck yourselves.